The required documents for obtaining driving licenses. Qataris and Gulf Cooperation Council GCC nationals. 2 recent personal photos. Size 4 centimeters by 6 centimeters. A copy of the identification card, the personal ID card. A certified medical examination form. Residents and visitors. 2 recent personal photos. Size 4 centimeters by 6 centimeters. A copy of the applicant's passport, residence permit, or a personal ID card, a copy of the visa for visitors. A certified medical examination form. Handicaps. 2 recent personal photos. Size 4 centimeters by 6 centimeters. A copy of personal ID card for Qataris and GCC nationals, and for visitors, a copy of the personal ID card or the resident's passport stamp. A certificate that specifies the type of disability, issued from the accredited medical body. International driving licenses. The international driving licenses held by the expats, tourists, visitors, and passers-by are valid in the state of Qatar in accordance with the Vienna Convention of the year 1968. The licenses are valid as long as its holder does not break the conditions of his visit, stay, or transit. International driving licenses held by expats, tourists, and visitors are also governed by the provisions of international, regional, and bilateral agreements with which the state of Qatar is involved in. It is also allowed for the residents of the Gulf Cooperation Council to drive in the state of Qatar under the issuance conditions of their own countries and the validity of their licenses. Visitors and tourists. The General Traffic Department may allow visitors and tourists who hold non-Qatari driving licenses to drive according to the following conditions. Visit the Traffic Department within 15 days from entering the country. Not violating the purpose of visit or tourism. The license is valid. Validity and renewal of driving licenses. Renewal of driving licenses. Driving licenses must be renewed no later than 30 days following its expiration date. If that is not the case, the license is void and its holder is not allowed to drive. Validity of driving licenses. The validity of driving licenses of all categories for all Qataris is 10 years. For non-Qataris, it is 5 years. Public driving licenses are valid for 1 year. Temporary driving licenses are valid for 3 months. The license is renewed after paying all the necessary fees. Chapter 2. Driving Guidelines and Prohibitions. Individuals should be fit, physically and mentally, to drive a vehicle. Drivers are also expected to behave in a proper manner under different circumstances, such as the following: physical fitness and vision power. If a driver senses he is falling ill or caught a bad case of cold or flu or any other illness, he should not drive and let someone else drive in his place. An ill driver is expected to drive carefully, especially when with another person. Road rage. Many drivers are angered by the way other drivers behave on the road. This may lead to road rage, and to avoid that, you should do the following. When observing any mistake made by others during driving, a driver has to remember that he may also have made a mistake. Keeping calm at a safe distance with other drivers. Considerate driving, taking into account other drivers. Treating other drivers the same way you want them to treat you. Confusion and anxiety during driving. Confusion during driving is the inability of the driver to avoid hazards upon their occurrence, or getting involved in situations that may endanger him and others. The main causes of confusion: inability of the driver to predict the danger resulting from the actions of others, lack of sufficient experience in certain situations, failure to read or understand traffic signs in a good way, failure to read or understand road markings in a good way, failure to read emergency situations in a good way, lack of monitoring and collection of information from the road, lack of knowledge in traffic laws, lack of concentration and absence of mind, drowsiness during driving. If a driver did not have a good share of sleep, that driver will in a lot of cases endanger himself and others. A tired driver who falls asleep, even for a matter of minutes, behind the wheel, without rest, will lose concentration and will definitely cause an accident. A driver should park his car and take some rest or sleep if any of the following starts to happen: continuous yawning, lane deviation, shut eyes or a foggy vision, inability to keep head in an upright position, unintentional increase or decrease in speed, not remembering the last few kilometers of the road. Fatigue and stress during driving. If a driver starts to feel tired or experiences fatigue, the driver should park his car, take some rest or sleep, so that he does not pose a danger to others. To avoid fatigue and stress while driving, drivers should do the following: sleep well before driving. Avoid driving for long periods of time at the end of the day. Avoid driving between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Taking driving turns if possible. Stop for 15 minutes every 2 hours. Stop the vehicle when feeling tired. Avoid eating fatty foods. Drink large amounts of water, as drought may lead to fatigue. Avoid excessive drinking of coffee or soft drinks. Stop before getting tired. Driving a vehicle under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or any other substances. Driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs is a legal offense. It strongly affects a driver's capabilities, which increases the chances of accidents. A driver must be awake, mentally present, so he can respond and act properly with anything that may happen on the road. The effect of alcohol on drivers while driving. Alcohol reduces brain activity, which in turn affects the driver's fast reflexes. Affects the driver's estimation of speed and the distance from other drivers. Gives false confidence. The driver believes that his skills in driving are better than what they are. Makes a driver feel sleepy. It increases the difficulty to do more than two things at the same time. While the driver's concentration is focused on guiding the steering wheel, he misses seeing the traffic lights.